Good morning. I'm Lester Abinger, the FRPA's legislative representative, and with me, as usual, is Steve Bosquet, the Capitol Bureau Chief of the Tampa Bay Times. And we're here this morning, Monday morning of the 7th week of the Florida legislative session to provide an update for the FRPA members. Steve, we're through week 7. The House has adopted a budget. The Senate has adopted a budget. They're radically different.
They are. And they've been different before, but this time they're about $4 billion apart. So can they bridge those differences and bridge those gaps? Yes, they can. I've been struck in the last few days by the tenor of the rhetoric coming from Speaker Richard Corcoran and from Senate President Joe Negron. They sound much more conciliatory toward each other. Everybody's aware of everybody else's priorities. So it sounds like this session can still end, on May 5th on time.
You're optimistic.
We'll see. No, I'm the reporter. I don't want the session to end on time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What are the major differences in the budget? Briefly?
The Senate spends a lot more money on education.
Right.
The House has a big new charter school program that the Senate has not embraced yet. Mm-hmm. You've got Senate President Joe Negron's Everglades Reservoir program, which is very expensive and which may involve some bonding that the House doesn't believe in doing. Richard Corcoran
Nor does the governor.
Nor does the governor. They don't like to borrow money, even for a massive public works project like this. The Senate has got a lot more money in the budget, surprise, for individual pork barrel projects in senators' districts than the House does. So those are a few areas they have to bridge. Then you've got this last point that's really important. It's in the weeds, but it's really important to policy and to the pocketbooks of the people watching. If the value of your house went up in the past year, your taxes are going up, whether you like it or not. Because your city, even if they leave the tax rate the same, you're going to pay more in taxes. It might be $20, it might be $200, depending upon how nice of a house you have.
Right.
The Senate says that's not a tax increase because we didn't raise taxes. We didn't raise the tax rate. It's just the natural growth of Florida. The House says, oh no, that's a backdoor tax increase and we're not doing that. This is a disagreement over about $500 million.
That's what I was going to say. That's $500 million, and in the context of this $4 billion gap that you talk about, that's a big part of it. The Everglades is a big part of it, and the funding that the Senate president wants for the state university system is a big part
absolutely. Yeah, sure.
What we can digress just a little bit. Talk about the political implications of what's going on. The governor is an all but announced candidate for the United States Senate in 2018. The Speaker has other aspirations. How does that play into this?
It does. It plays into it, but I don't know how much. I think the biggest ongoing political saga remains unchanged from when the session began, which is Richard Corcoran and the House want to abolish Enterprise Florida.
Right.
Not a lot of money, but really important, to the state, symbolic to the state's image to create jobs. And Scott has been going around the state, and he's been really aggressively saying and calling out House members by name. You rarely see this in Florida politics. Joe Blow voted the wrong way. I'll give you, instead of saying Joe Blow, he went to Pensacola and called out Clay Ingram, who is a well-liked House member from Pensacola, Frank White, a new freshman member from Pensacola, and said these guys voted the wrong way. They voted against the interests of their own constituents. I think we're going to see...
Hardball.
Yeah, it's hardball politics, big time. Yeah.
Well, we'll be back with the FRPA at the end of the session, and for my sake, I hope we're through on time. For your sake, probably not. Thank you again.
Sure,
Steve.
Lester.
It was delightful.